phone.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Terriers TV. We are back with another video, obviously still international break, so we thought what a good idea was to do would be to, ask you guys some questions you want to be answered on the channel. Obviously we've got a guest today, a well-known person around the HTAFC. So we've got Brad on the channel. Hi Brad, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. And then obviously we've got Bobby and Josh, who you've all seen before. So the way it's going to work is we're going to run through the questions that you guys have asked. And yeah, that's about it really. Please like and subscribe, turn notifications on if you haven't already. It's really appreciated. And yeah, we'll get straight into the video. So the first question is for you, Brad. The first question is, should the players have the mentality of pushing for playoffs?
Well, it's funny you asked me that. I've literally just put in the stream. I thought that's a question that's good. I thought that's the thing that will come up. I thought that is what people say. I think as a professional, you've always got to have the mentality to be the best you can be and to progress as much as you can. But I also believe in being realistic, and I do think. You see, I'm looking at the fixtures now of what we've played. Apart from Fulham, who we got pasted against.
Yeah.
We've not really played anyone that's like up there at the top of the table. You know, like your West Brom or your Bournemouth or next fixture your Stoke. So I think 5 more games and we can sort of see where we're going to be finishing realistically. Yeah. But I mean, I think the mentality the players should have is to finish in the top half, because if we do, don't get injuries and we play to the strengths of the system and don't do this thing where we sit off so much when the opposition have possession, then I think we can do that.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously the playoff, having that mentality to push for playoffs, not we know we're not going to get playoff, but obviously the mentality would be better, probably make us finish higher. But obviously moving on to the next question, Josh, he's got a question now, a pretty simple question. It's just Campbell or Ward. And then it was spelled Campbell right. But yeah, Campbell or Ward, who are you playing? Who are you starting?
This is such a tough question because both of them aren't the greatest and they both haven't got great strike rates for us. But I'm just gonna say Ward because he's that extra. Is it 4 years younger than Campbell? So he's probably got more time to just play. I don't know. It's a very not great strikers, to be honest.
You can judge him off. You can definitely judge Ward off last game. I think he had a brilliant game. I think he proved to a lot of fans that he deserved to be in that spot.
Yeah, obviously you got one that really tries for the badge. Someone who really loves the club, but maybe the quality isn't there. There's trying and there's having quality, and that's where. And Campbell, unfortunately, just slips into the tries hard but hasn't got that end finishing touch. Yeah. But obviously Ward had a good game against Reading. I'm always slagging him off, but obviously he had a good game. Obviously I'd say start him against Stoke as well. But yeah, it's a really hard question because they're both maybe as good as each other. One we love more than the other. Next question, Bobby. Do you think O'Brien will want to renew his contract?
That's interesting because obviously we know he's been linked with Leeds heavily and Palace. And to be honest, I think come next transfer window in January, I think that's definitely when clubs will be looking at him, especially if he has a good season for Town. I mean, we all know the player he can be. We've all seen it, but personally, I don't think he will. He'll want to go on to play Premier League football. If that's obviously if Leeds do stay up, and I just don't think he will. And to be honest, I mean, in his position, if, for example, if he did go to Palace, the wages he'd be getting is probably twice what he'd be getting at Town for Premier League football as well. So. I very highly doubt he'll renew his contract.
I think if we're thinking about giving him that contract, I think we've got to think about that very soon, because obviously if it gets to January and we're offering him a contract and he doesn't want to sign it, then it's just best to sell him then, and let him go on a free for no money. So from a business point of view, give him the contract now, and if he don't, want it, then we'll let him go. Obviously, it would be unfortunate, but you can't blame him. He's got it's that time in his career now where he needs to push on and get somewhere. Next question is for you, Brad. It's quite a long one. Do you see our transfer window as quite embarrassing due to making 9 signings without spending a penny, or is it just good business for what we've got?
I think I'm on the fence. I think we've had better windows than a good chunk of other teams that I've seen. They haven't signed quality. I think the main thing for me is what we've shifted out and what we've got from it. Because obviously you're talking about getting rid of Richard Keogh and Stearman, and they've been replaced with Pearson and Colwell. Now that's just straight away. It's an improvement and it's depth in its own right. And if we do suffer with injuries, we can call upon Romani Manscreen and obviously Creature. But I think it's been a good window. I mean, I would have liked to have seen a bit of money in there, but we know by now that that's not going to be the case. So I think, a good window of what we've got. But if we are, if we do have injuries, I do see the board putting a bit of money into it in January if we do get injured or if we are in a bad position. But good window for what we've got.
Next question is for me. What did Town need to buy in the transfer window? So I'm guessing it means what didn't we buy? I'd say striker again. Obviously, I know we've got this Odebeku guy, but he's still young. I'm looking for that championship experience, middle age, striker. Someone who can just put the ball in the back of the net. That we can trust to put the ball in the back of the net regularly. I think with obviously the injury news of Pippa being out, I think another right back would have been nice. I don't rate Turton. I think we needed another right back. We had time. Anyone would have been nice. Obviously, maybe another midfielder, attacking midfielder. Obviously, we were all looking at players like Matty Longstaff and Lewis Ferguson, but we didn't get them deals done. But we really needed an attacking midfielder with Bakuna leaving the club, so that were another area we needed to strengthen in. That's it really. Anyone else think we needed anyone else?
Yeah, well, no, I'd like to just mention the Odebeku signing, which a lot of people have got excited about, which they have quite a lot of right to get excited about. I mean, we've seen from Colwell what he's about. He's 18 years old. He's come from the Premier League and he's proved himself. I think I know obviously defence and attack are two different positions completely, but if he can prove himself in that position like Colwell has done, another young inexperienced football player, I think it's a very decent signing, and I highly doubt we'll go on to sign him. I think he signed a new contract with Chelsea or something. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely a good. We're getting the most out of him for this season, I think.
Next question is for you, Josh. After the first 5 games, where should we expect to finish, Josh? Now, obviously, Brad said that we'd have to probably look after another 5 games to see where realistically we're going to finish. Obviously, we are 4th at the moment. Probably won't stay like that. But after the first 5 games, after the football you've seen, where do you think we could realistically finish?
I think Brad made a very, very valid point in saying that we've only played teams up near the bottom. So I think we need to be tested more in better teams. We can't really say where we're going to be at the moment because we're used to, in a way, disappointment. So I'd just say I'd give it a few more games, better sides, see if we can compete at that level. I'd hope to finish top 10, maybe. Yeah.
Obviously, personally, I wouldn't want us to get playoffs. I look at that team, I don't see, I wouldn't like playoffs. I think as a team, we're still, we're growing now. I think a few more years in the Championship and then we're ready to go on to the Premier League. If we were to actually go, I know this is just, I'm just saying this, but, if we were to go up, we'd go straight back down. There's not enough depth yet. A lot of younger players, we need still a few more seasons, prepare for that. Next season, obviously after this season and next season will be a big, thing for us. Obviously, the next question is actually about that, and it's for Brad. If Town were to finish in the top half this season, should we expect Phil to start spending to seek promotion?
I think that the issue that we've had for a long time is we've been that used to being in relegation battles that promotion's never been a thought. It's never. It crossed about 40% of the fan base's mind last year when Corona went on that goal fest, and we started climbing up the table. We got to about 9th, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's happening again," and then it didn't. But I mean, it all depends on. It's dependent on the player, because look, we bought Sorba Thomas for 10k, and he's by far the best player we've got this season in form. So I would like to see a bit of money in, but I think you are right. We need that 26-year-old championship striker. If it's going to be spent on someone, you spend it on someone who's already proven themselves at this level to give us that help, and also it'd be good to rotate them with obviously the new lad, because you can't expect a young lad to start every game or play at the intensity and level every game. So like obviously we're not going to get anyone like this, but like a Surridge or someone, or like a Solanke, someone that's a bit in the sort of 24, 25, decent striker, and I reckon that's what I would expect if we do finish top half this season.
Yeah. So next question is for you, Bobby. Is Sorba Thomas potentially on the way to being one of our best players in the last 5 or 6 years?
That's a difficult question. We've had a lot of good players in the past. Yeah. Let's go from 6 years. I think you can look the Premier League, the promotion season from the Championship. I think we can forget the last 2 seasons in the Championship. So I think he does have the potential to be, I think, especially from the start he's had this season. But if you look back to the Naki Wells, the Chris Schindlers, players like that, I think, he might be able to get up to that status, I think. But that's a really hard question. Personally, if he stays at the club for a good while, like a lot of the other players we've had, I think he can definitely make a name for himself, which he is already doing. So
yeah, personally, I've looked at him in the last 5 games, and it's just been like, wow. I hadn't seen a player play for town like that for a long time. It reminds me of Van der Parra. Always running at players. We had someone who can actually beat his man. Like, you can expect him to beat his man in the last few years. But now, Sorba Thomas brings that. But he doesn't just bring that as well. He can cross the ball. We haven't had that for a few years. From set pieces in the last few years, we have been awful, like really bad. But this season, most of our goals are coming from set pieces, which is really good to see. And they're all coming from, Sorba. So, really good player so far. Potentially, looking for maybe young player of the year in the Championship. He's fucking not just town fans, shocking the whole league.
Van der Parra ahead of himself. Like the fans have given him so much love over these 5 games. I'm hoping he's not just thinking, "Oh, I'm bigger than the club." Do you know what I mean? This fan base loves me.
I don't think he's that kind of person.
No, but I think he could potentially be. Anyone could be like that. There's players that do think they are bigger than the club because they're labelled the best player. There's a lot of teams that have been ruined because of that, and we don't want to change the dressing room because it's looking good at the moment.
Yeah.
The next question I'd just like to go to that Van der Parra point you made. I can see where you're coming from. Like Van der Parra did get, he had the skill to get past players, but he got to the final third, and then the differences between Sorba and Van der Parra. Sorba has that, finishing product. He crosses the ball well, whereas Van der Parra, from what I can remember anyway, especially in the Premier League, he got there, and he most times he ended up passing back, and that's the difference between Thomas and Van der Parra, and something we've needed for a long time.
Yeah. Next question is for me, but it's kind of similar to what I was talking about earlier on. Even with the signing of Odebecker and Ward having a good game last week, obviously against Reading, do we still need another striker? yes, 100%. You know, I'm looking at what we've got up front. Rhodes coming back. We can't expect. Obviously, I know he's injured right now, but when he comes back, we can't expect him to be putting goals in every week, like he was. Even on Wednesday, now he's getting old now. He ain't going to do the job. Same with Campbell and Ward. Ward's having a few good games, but I don't see him being a standout striker for us this season, getting 10+ goals. Same with Odebeku. Whether he'll be playing that many games, we'll have to see. Obviously, he'll have competition up there, him and Ward. Obviously, we definitely do need another striker. You look in the Championship, you see some of the strikers other teams have got, like Charlie Austin, for example, at QPR, even though he's old, put the ball into him, he'll score loads of goals. It's not all about pace, and that's someone we need, at any, age. It'd just be good to have a good striker in the club, and I think that's something we have missed since, I can't remember last time we had a proper good striker, obviously since the Championship back in like 2017 and 16. So, in the Premier League, Mooney was good, but we didn't really have a consistent striker. And obviously we come down Grant, but he wasn't really a striker either. So, we've not seen a good striker in the club for a long time. So it would be good to see, someone come to the club that's, middle-aged and, do a good job. And I think, guys, that is about it. I think I've got through all the questions.
Just like all the questions, yeah. I've got a question for everybody, really. As Brad is the guest, I'll ask him first. But let's say if we do beat Stoke and Blackpool, that's 6 points straight away. Do you think we are in a shout for promotion? Do you think the players starting to think, you know what, we could actually go for this?
Look, I think usually in a football season, it's Christmas where people know what situation they're in. I think the problem that we have is we rotate in seasons. We either start off awful and come into it a bit more, or we start brilliantly and then slope off. I think if we don't get injuries, if we play the right stuff in the right area, it's like a couple of weeks ago, I'm seeing Turton as a right wing back and then Sorba as a left wing back. Now, so we know that Sorba can do it because he's hungry for it, but Turton hasn't got that going forward. But then when he swapped it on its head and put Sorba on the right and then Toffolo on the left, you've seen a completely different approach. And Toff is massive for our progress this season. I don't think people realise how massive, because if he does get injured, we're then debating obviously on Ruffles, and we don't know what system he played at Oxford. So with the thing, obviously the Pippa injury is massive, but our hopes of achieving anything relies this season solely on Sorba Thomas and some of the defenders and the wing backs as well. I think the defence is crucial, because last season we conceded far too many goals, and then this season you can already see day and night the difference. So, yeah, I mean, we probably could. If we win the next 2 games, we'll sort of look to get for the playoffs. But I do think it's going to be a long road. I do think we'll finish mid-table and sort of safe in the middle.
Yeah, I think obviously Stoke is the big, game. Obviously, it's a team, who's like, just one in front of us in 3rd place. So obviously, it's a big game. If we want to win that game, we can get a little bit excited. Obviously, after that, we've got some quite easy games after Stoke. Well, games that, after the first 5, we should be looking at them and thinking, yeah, we should win this game. Obviously, we've got Blackpool. I think we've got Forest as well, not too long after that. So, really,
Forest 4 days after.
Yeah, so obviously, 2 really big games. 6 points, 9, we could be getting 9 points out of them 3 games that we just mentioned. So, it's all about, winning the games. Obviously, that's going to be a big test as well to see if we can be consistent against the teams below us. Obviously, we've done it so far against, your Preston, Sheffield, and obviously Reading. So it's going to be good to see, if we can beat them teams. Because, finishing mid-table is all about beating the teams below you and then just, seeing how you do against the better teams. And obviously, if you want to look for promotion, you've got to beat everyone, frequently and consistently. Yeah.
Stoke is the real test, I think. That is the game where I'm definitely looking forward to see how we play, because that is our first test. Let's be honest. I mean, Fulham you can't count.
Yeah,
I don't think you can count. I don't think you can count Fulham as well. As much as we all want to, as much as we all want to admit that we got ruined, which we did.
Yeah.
There's so much wrong with that game that means that it wasn't. You got Scofield in goal for starters. For me, in fact, all those players I just said, they're all important, but there's no one that's more important for me than Nichols. If he's not in the team, we don't win. That is as simple as it is. I don't like wish to be horrible, but Scofield just it's day and night in what we're seeing, and that's the truth, because a lot of people won't say it. A lot of people just be like, "Oh, they're from Huddersfield. That's it. Let's get the red carpet out." And look, I'm sure Ryan's a lovely lad, and we've seen glimpses of what he's capable of in his shot-stopping ability. But Nichols is the full package, and whilst he's in that goal, I've got faith that we can defend. So yeah, I agree. Stoke is the real test, but we have to go with the right lineup. Otherwise, it all crumble within the first 30.
We don't know what Carlos is going to do.
Yeah. I was speaking on Nichols as well. We've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. What a change he's been in the squad. Obviously, we've had Scofield now. Obviously, whole last season, and it was like I think at times we didn't want to blame him. We wanted to blame the defence. Obviously, the whole defence alone was terrible last season. But sometimes you just look at him and thinking we really need a good goalkeeper. And I think this season we were just begging for anyone better than Scofield, but we've got someone who's a really good championship keeper. I think he's got the best save percentage in the league. He's doing really well. Lots of clean sheets so far as well for him. I think it's
harsh to criticise Scofield after last season. We had the injury crisis. We had the injury crisis. We were keeping clean sheets somehow up to January. We sold Hamer, and I can't remember who our backup then was.
Luau.
Yeah.
And Pereira.
So both I think Hearts fans called Pereira Papadamans, and I've never heard that legally when he joined us. So we were our only real goalkeeper that we can really rely on. So I think it's hard to really put all the criticism on him, because he saved us at a lot of points. There were a lot of points where he made big saves, kept us in games. And
I think the problem with Scofield is though. I
think without Scofield, we would have been relegated.
It's the short stopping that's good, but the other stuff commanding, awful.
Do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of. Do you remember when we had Camille Grabara?
Oh yeah.
He was awesome.
He does all the saving and the reflexes, the diving, the acrobatic stuff, the quick stuff. He does all that perfectly, and I've never made out that Scofield hasn't done that. Like that save last season where Adam Armstrong shot from 3 yards out and he got there. I don't think anyone with the right mind has ever criticised his shot-stopping ability, but there's more to a keeper, especially in the modern game, than just saving. And you've got, it's like Derby away was the prime example. Sorbert shouted for that ball about 8 times, and Scofield just wants to slow it down. And there's no time for it. If we're playing to sit off and defend and hit them on the counter, the whole soul of the counter is you catch them by surprise. We can't do that if we keep the ball in our box. It's simple. And we've obviously seen handling in positional problems with Scofield. I think you're spot on. We can't criticise him because he saved us, but we know that Nichols is a more all-rounded sort of a better option. But we can rely on Ryan if we need to against maybe a mid-table side, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable with Nichols in goal anyway. I think a lot of people do. You just didn't always have that trust in Scofield as you do with Nichols, because Nichols, as I've said, he's consistent. Like, I've not seen him make a vital mistake, and don't get me wrong, everybody makes mistakes at some point as a goalkeeper, but the problem with Scofield is it kept happening to him, and that's the difference, I think.
I think one of the problems with him was confidence. I think I'm a goalkeeper myself, and I think you've got to be confident. You can't, sometimes there's been overconfident, but you've got to be really confident in your ability. As a goalkeeper, you've got to be confident when you're coming out to the ball. You've got to be confident in your own ability, or you're going to make a mistake and you're not going to be confident. Even just the little things like coming out that ball in a corner. The less confidence you have, the less you're going to do that. And I think that's something with Nichols we've seen a lot this season. He's not afraid to come out and jump for the ball and get the ball and save the defenders a job. He's always coming out of his box, chesting it down and passing it out. That's something. If Scofield were doing that, I'd have been having heart palpitations. But with him, it's just so more comfortable and confident. And I think that's really helped the defence. you know, even players from last season like Naby Sarr in a really good, you know, obviously the games he's played, he's been playing really well, obviously, with a new set of, you know, players around him. Obviously, he's playing next to Pearson and, you know, having a new goalkeeper behind him, so he's been playing really well. But I think
Yeah,
we
Naby
can
Sarr looks
wrap
like a
that up
new
now.
player, doesn't he? Like
Yeah,
Naby Sarr
He
yeah.
does.
with a different defence around him, he looks incredible. And
Solid.
I think that's the difference between Nichols and Scofield, because Scofield's young and he's not got that leadership trait behind him. He might have done an academy setup where there's younger players that he's confident to speak, like shout over. But if there's older players, more experienced players like Jonathan Ogg, he's not going to be shouting at him, is he, to do his job? And I think that's the difference between Nichols and Scofield. They'll shout at him, even if that he is a new player. He'll shout at him. He'll make sure that they're doing everything right. Like, I'll do it. I'll make a save for you if you cover my tracks as well. And I think that's the difference between them two.
Yeah. So I think we're ready to wrap that up, guys. We've gone 25 minutes. It's gone quite a long time, but it was all worth it. Obviously, thanks, Brad, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, guys, obviously, please like and subscribe. Turn notifications on so you don't miss a video. You know, please put down in the comments anything else you'd like to, you know, be answered. We'll answer them in the comments for you. Obviously, we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're on 82 at the moment of recording this video. So the quicker we get there, the better. Thanks for all the support, guys, over the last few weeks. Well, the first week of the channel, the support's been unreal. You know, so many views, so many likes, and yeah, obviously, thanks, bro, for coming on. You know, we'll have to get you back on again very soon. And yeah, guys, so thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.